Rumors are heating up again, with talk that old issues tied to Jay-Z may resurface, as Gene Deal pushes claims that Jay-Z could be pulled into new industry drama. Nothing is confirmed, but whispers are growing, with some suggesting Beyoncé is keeping her distance while others say Diddy feels Jay-Z didn't support him during a critical moment.
To me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough when he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s.
Did Diddy always say negative things about Jay around you?
The time he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay, yeah, he was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It's probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some bullshit, he could rise up in between both of them. You know what I mean? It definitely was.
Commentators have long speculated that Jay-Z is no stranger to pressure, and some claim the current buzz places him on the defensive rather than in control. Voices like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have repeated their views for years, often pointing to ongoing industry tension around both Jay-Z and Diddy and warning that unresolved pressure tends to resurface. While Diddy's situation has already unfolded publicly, these same commentators now suggest, purely in rumor, that Jay-Z could face increasing challenges as the atmosphere around him grows more intense.
These four gentlemen that got together, gonna put up $30 million apiece.
Contemplating doing the first black-owned distribution company.
The thing is, they wasn't trying to let us in the door. That's why I don't trust these people.
But Suge came up with the idea. It was a brilliant plan. He said, whatever the recording fund is, 10% goes to the union. Each time you do a new album, 10%. It was going to be some get down or lay down shit. Shortly after that, the feds raided.
All of us was being hit up around the same time.
Someone left that meet talking about our move.
It was Jay-Z and Puff that went to those New York corner to let them know what Suge Knight was trying to do. They told Jay, if you help us get rid of Dame, we're going to make you the president of Def Jam.
Why don't we stick together and they got to come to us? For some reason, everybody just wants to do everything on their own. They don't understand collective economics.
Industry whispers continue to question Jay-Z's reliability, often circling back to long-debated discussions surrounding the 1999 incident involving Lance Rivera, an episode that ended with Jay-Z pleading guilty to a misdemeanor charge, despite Rivera repeatedly stating that Jay-Z never physically harmed him. That contradiction has fueled years of speculation, with observers wondering why Rivera has consistently held that position, adding yet another layer of intrigue to a story the industry refuses to let fade.
Turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
Kimberly Richardson is at Midtown South right now. Kimberly.
For Rosanna, just a few hours ago, police here at Midtown South arrested Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. The rap star voluntarily turned himself in here at the precinct earlier this evening. Now, Carter is being held here in connection with that stabbing fight that erupted at the Kit Kat Club last night. But just a few moments ago, Carter's attorney had this to say.
He's not involved in this, period.
He was at the club?
That's my only comment. He wasn't involved in this.
So it was someone else that did the stabbing and the hitting?
I didn't say that. I said he was not involved in it.
Now, Slovis goes on to say that at no time was Jay-Z hiding from the police, that they were in touch with cops all day and that they're trying to resolve this as gentlemen. But as Mike Sheehan shows us, others say they've seen the dark side of Jay-Z.
Commentators have long claimed that Jay-Z has shown little public reflection on the Lance Rivera incident, pointing to past interviews critics viewed as carefully framed rather than deeply personal. They argue the conflicting accounts surrounding what happened at the Kit Kat Club only deepened the uncertainty, with different witnesses offering varied versions while Rivera continues to insist Jay-Z never harmed him. That contrast has kept the debate alive for years, fueling speculation about why Rivera maintains his position and leaving the situation clouded by unanswered questions and ongoing industry discussion.
You know, but you pled guilty to charges of, I don't remember exactly the charges, assault with a deadly weapon.
They would have never let me be out here with you if that was the case.
You stabbed him. Okay. All right. Do you feel like that was a mistake in hindsight?
I believe that was the greatest thing ever. This is gonna sound crazy, but I believe that helped me. You know what I'm saying? Because that put the brakes on everything. That let me know that no matter how successful you are and how much you're on your road, it can all stop. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still kid from Marcy Projects, and you know, not everybody they waiting for you to mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just go ahead. You know what I'm saying? We let you just go ahead and self-destruct yourself. You know what I'm saying? But that right there was a moment I was like, okay. You know, and I'm glad they didn't have to take for me to be in jail for like 7 years to be like, damn. Well, you know what I'm saying? That moment was like, okay, all that stops. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not going to parties with 30 people, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in that position.
When you look at Dame, still kind of living that life. You know, you could find Dame at the club. You know,
yeah, but he's with 30 models. It's a little different. I was with the hood.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. He's hanging at a different kind of club.
Industry chatter is intensifying, with some suggesting that after Diddy's dramatic collapse, Jay-Z could be the next high-profile figure to face heightened scrutiny. A few commentators argue that powerful forces may be circling major names, pointing to Ice Cube's view that Diddy's rapid fall, from massive success to legal and financial trouble in a short span, didn't happen by chance. While nothing is confirmed, these voices speculate that Jay-Z could eventually find himself under a similar spotlight as the industry atmosphere grows heavier and more unpredictable.
Any kind of run-in with Diddy? Did you ever do anything with Diddy? Any projects you worked on with him?
He produced a few records, or had his producers do a few records on my War and Peace album, the Peace Disc. Yeah.
How was he to work with?
It was cool. You know, he gave us great music. We flew out to New York, and I was mainly in the studio with the producer. You know, he had a stable of producers, so I was in the studio with his stable of producers, and I think we did some great music. And you know, I really kind of, you know, lost contact with him and really stopped, you know, dealing with Puffy around 94. Yeah.
Any specific reason?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they was doing their thing, I was doing mine. And, you know, I'm not the partying type. You know what I mean? I ain't never been to a Diddy party. Ain't never really wanted to go. But I don't go to a lot of people parties. You know, that just ain't what I'm in it for.
Some commentators argue that Jay-Z's hardened image doesn't always match behind-the-scenes stories, often pointing to long-circulating accounts from the 1996 East Coast, West Coast era suggesting he stayed in his Las Vegas hotel room to avoid a tense situation involving Tupac. Gene Deal has repeatedly claimed the atmosphere was highly charged until Suge Knight stepped in and encouraged calm, allowing the night to move forward so Jay-Z could still perform. These accounts, while unverified, have become part of hip-hop lore, continuing to fuel debate about how Jay-Z handled pressure during one of the most intense chapters in rap history.
What's the story behind Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room because of Pac? All right, what happened was that I guess Pac had got whiffed that Jay-Z was in town. Well, you know he gonna do a show because Jay-Z, he doing a show. But you got to realize Jay-Z had became an enemy of Pac because I think he had said some, was gonna do a song with Big or whatever like that, the whole 9 yards. So Jay is now Pac's enemy too. So Chaz Williams, who's over Black Hands. Black Hands is one of the labels who did that Black Gangster had every artist in New York on. And Chaz, who is now getting into the music business, has become a music executive. And he was once a former gangster who was on American Gangster BET because they had him down for robbing 161 banks. That's what they put in their program and everything. But Chaz was a gangster in New York City that became a music executive. So he gets a phone call saying that Jay is not going to come out the room because Tupac threatened him. So he's not going to do his show. Can he make some phone calls, you understand, to get Pac off the bullshit? So I think he may have talked to Big D, and Big D and Eric B called Suge, and Suge was laughing, saying that wasn't him. because they tried to make it seem like it was Suge that was doing it, but it was Pac. So I guess Suge called Pac. Pac let him go ahead and do his show and everything like that. But Jay was scared to come out his room. So that story was really true about Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room. Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, he was scared. Probably still is scared.
Some industry storytellers even point out that Gene Deal once joked about wanting to confront Jay-Z, using that moment to question whether Jay-Z's tough reputation fully matches reality. Critics argue that if his image were truly as intimidating as portrayed, figures like Gene Deal wouldn't speak so freely about him. This has added yet another layer to the ongoing debate around Jay-Z's public persona and the larger-than-life mythology that continues to follow him.
You know, because he was being disrespectful. We was in Cancun and he had a personal assistant from my block named Laura. And he had brought like 6 people to the club with him, and he was only supposed to get 3 people in. I was running the door at Daddy-O's from Industry Entertainment. They just told me Jay-Z only get 3 people in. So I'm at the door. I said, yo, Jay, you good? And 3 of your other good, but the other 3 got to pay. So then he said, Laura, handle him. And at that time, the type of dude I was, you couldn't tell no woman to handle me when I'm talking to you as a man. I said, who you talking to like that? You telling her to handle me? And then me and him, you know, he didn't say nothing. He just turned to the side. And if he'd have turned back around, he'd have got his head knocked off. But Laura told me, yo, Gene, please, Gene, you gonna make me lose my job. You know what I'm saying? And because 1, she was beautiful, 2, she from our block, I wasn't gonna do that to her. So I gathered myself, stepped away from the situation, you know what I'm saying? But he was being
Some commentators have long claimed that Diddy and Jay-Z operated within the same circles, linked by overlapping networks and long-standing industry stories that Gene Deal says he heard directly. Critics argue that while Diddy eventually faced intense public scrutiny, Jay-Z appeared protected by silence and insider support, allowing him to remain largely untouched as others took the spotlight. Now, with Gene Deal speaking more openly than ever, these voices suggest that buried narratives may be rising, warning that Jay-Z's carefully built empire could soon face the same level of scrutiny that has already consumed others.
To protect myself, that there's stories of Jay talking to underage girls. It was a girl from my block that was 16, 17 years old that Jay was talking to. If she was 17. So there's plenty of stories out there that they might flood the market of Jay talking to underage girls. I heard this kid that is claiming to be his son. His mother was 15 when she conceived him and had him at 16. And Jay refused to do a blood test or anything like that.
From your point of view, because I know you heard the statement that, you know, Jay lawyer came out with about how he wasn't really friends with Diddy. From your point of view, was they really friends or no?
How close was Diddy and Jay-Z? They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball. They wasn't playing baseball. They wasn't playing football. And they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass. And then you making a broad statement to the public. Can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
Some commentators say quiet chatter is beginning to surface about Jay-Z facing pressure in certain circles, while separate rumors continue to swirl about Diddy dealing with growing tension behind the scenes. In recent months, online stories have suggested Diddy encountered rising hostility, with insiders claiming timely interventions kept situations from escalating. Now, theorists speculate that whoever may have been applying pressure to Diddy could also be turning their focus toward Jay-Z, adding to the speculation and keeping the industry on edge.
While he was sleeping at the MDC Brooklyn jail, somebody came and put a knife, pressed it to his throat. Now, as I keep digging into the story, they're saying, yes, a correctional officer, or a police officer was the one who came and basically helped him out and quote unquote saved him. Yes. And so, obviously Diddy's lawyers are trying to use this as a way to just get him even moved to a different location. But right now, everything is kind of staying as is.
Yeah, his safety being an issue when he's supposed to be, I think in some sort of protected environment. Remember MDC? Isn't that where the Epstein situation happened?
Yeah.
Is he safe though? And you say something about him getting stabbed?
I was going to say, Diddy's team is saying no, he's not going to be safe, because in court we found out that there was an attempt on Diddy's life, that there was a man that attempted to shank him, but they stopped it, the correctional officers. And they say Diddy didn't even want people to know that he didn't want to make it a big deal. But of course they're having that conversation about will he be safe because of who he is and how high profile this case is.
Right.
They're also having a conversation. Mark Geragos is a high profile attorney, a friend of Diddy's, but also the dad of Teeny Geragos, who led Diddy's defense about Diddy potentially being raped in court. And we can and just attacks on his life, because they say that people look at him as like a trophy or a prize, and to do something to him.
Well, what if other inmates hear all of the stuff that we've been hearing in the news all of these weeks, and they scared of Diddy?
That's not how they presented it. I don't.
That's crazy to say Diddy's a trophy. Like, he's looked at as a trophy in jail is crazy.
Some commentators argue that karma may be catching up to Diddy, suggesting he's now facing intense pressure and challenges similar to those he once managed from a position of authority. Industry insiders note that the tables have turned, with Diddy confronting scrutiny and tension that put him on the defensive like never before, injecting a new layer of drama into his ongoing saga.
That Sean Diddy Combs could be sexually assaulted, violently assaulted. Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
Yeah, it clearly is a thing. I mean, they're already, and he did not want to make a big deal of it. They already tried to shank him once at the MDC, and that was thwarted. And it happens in prison. I mean, you and I could tick off how many times we are aware of somebody getting seriously injured or killed in prison. And so they're going to have to keep him somewhere that they can keep an eye on him. It would have obviously been better if he had gotten less time and had been at a camp, but he's going to be in a facility where somebody's going to have to, from the BOP, and I think they're well equipped to do it if they can, to keep an eye on him, because he is a target.
So let's say he is sent to a minimum security prison. Is he out of the woods when it comes to that kind of assault?
If you're going, you and I talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, who went from the one place in Florida, which was a higher level, not a camp, and she was transferred after she did the interview with the couple-day interview. She was transferred to what they call a camp in Texas, which I'm familiar with. I've had other
industry commentators, including Gene Deal, have fueled speculation that Diddy is confronting major behind-the-scenes challenges, with insiders like Chirichi Finney sharing accounts suggesting he's under pressures rarely visible to the public. Rumors about tense incidents during his confinement have circulated, seen by some as part of a broader pattern of mounting difficulties. Observers note this is just one of many obstacles Diddy has faced recently, and the continuing speculation keeps the industry closely watching every move.
Diddy being in prison and the circumstances him being in prison, I didn't never hear about this, and nobody ever said anything about this, and I want to know if it's in the prison records. They said one of the guards stopped a dude from shanking Diddy. Now, I'm like, if he was doing all this positive shit in jail, and they was talking about he was all the inmates loved him and they was employing him and doing standing ovation, I wonder what inmate was trying to shank him. Was that one of the Tupac? Was that one of the Tupac fans, or that was one of the Biggie fans? Because they said that the guard. They said that in court. One of the lawyers, one of the guards, stopped one of the individuals that was trying to shank him, bruh. And that was crazy. Nobody. I never. That didn't leak. Everything leaks from prison, but that didn't leak. Nobody wrote home and said, yo, dudes is in here trying to stab Diddy up. But the lawyers mentioned that today. I want to see if they're going to investigate that right there. You know what I'm saying? And base that, or he probably used that, base that on trying to help Diddy getting into one of those camps or one of those programs that, you know, he ain't got to worry about nothing.
Commentators suggest that Jay-Z doesn't enjoy the same layers of protection that Diddy once appeared to have, noting that while Diddy had powerful backing, Jay-Z leaned more on support from influential industry figures. Those same voices now caution that if those allies withdraw or lose interest, Jay-Z could face exposure in ways he hasn't before, adding a fresh layer of uncertainty to the storm already gathering around his name.
You know, when we were on the street, we didn't get a day's rest. I mean, the government was all over us. The FBI is all over us. They got investigations on us. They got informants. They got surveillance equipment.
He was not cutting you off, but he was an informant for years.
Was he really?
Yeah. That's why when people was like, oh, he's going to run, oh, he's not. So the reason why these type of people get caught up, they always been feeling they bigger than the law because they part of the law, you know? And as you know, all these people get tired of their rap.
I mean, what this guy did is disgusting. I don't think there's a person alive, a man or a woman, especially women, who are not going to hate this guy. Whatever he did was completely disgusting. It's beyond criminal. I don't even know what it is. I look at it like he disgraced everybody. He disgraced the black race by being a black man. I know a lot of black people and they hate him for it because it painted a picture towards all of them. I think it's being followed all over the world. If he's not found guilty or he's cut free or he does a short amount of time, I mean, I can only imagine what the whole world would think. This is a disgusting country. So there's a lot of things.
Sammy, if you would, give me your comparison. I mean, listen, guys in the mob did some terrible, terrible things. The murders were gruesome and violent and painful, and they served a purpose. They were meant to terrify people into staying in line, right? Compare that to the things that you've heard alleged from the witness stand and testimony under oath from a lot of these young women and some of the young men who were his assistants. Compare the guys in the mob to the stuff you're hearing alleged against Diddy.
If we did that in the mob, we would be for it. We would never touch women and children and stuff like that. So that's against our rules, our principles. We would never get away with something like that. There was a guy, Roy DeMeo and Gas Pipe, who became serial killers for no reason, and they were killed. So, I mean, if he was in the mafia, he would, and we knew what he was doing, he would have been.
Industry commentators and insiders have long suggested that the circles Diddy and Jay-Z moved in were high stakes and fraught with risk, with some noting that even seasoned figures would be tested by the conflicts they encountered. Michael Francisi, a former organized crime commentator, is frequently cited for highlighting that the sheer intensity of their reputations alone could unsettle anyone. Observers argue that both Diddy and Jay-Z operated in worlds where loyalty, influence, and power were always in play, turning every action into a potential flashpoint and keeping the industry closely watching their next moves.
They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know did nobody in America like that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not going to come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape. Doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape. And girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not going to show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're going to start talking. And they're not going to be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on.
Rumors are swirling that Diddy is under increasing pressure behind the scenes, while whispers suggest Beyoncé may be keeping her distance. Even Jay-Z's once loyal circles are watching closely. Gene Deal points out that the environment around him is shifting, with some insiders predicting his influence could face unprecedented tests. As speculation grows and new developments emerge, the industry's protective shields may no longer hold, keeping everyone on edge. Stay up to date, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to catch every update the moment it drops, and follow every twist in this high-stakes saga.